Dear friends, you were not made just to survive. You were made to serve, to love, to shine. As this new morning stretches out its arms and greets your soul, I invite you to breathe deeply. Not just air, but purpose. There is something holy about beginning the day not by asking, "What do I need today?" but by whispering, "Lord, what do you need of me today?" You are here for more than going through the motions. You are not an accident. You are not invisible. And even if yesterday felt ordinary, today carries the whisper of heaven. God is calling you. Not someone more gifted, not someone holier. He is calling you. He calls you in your kitchen, in your office, on your morning drive, in the messy middle of your real life. He does not wait for you to be perfect before he places purpose into your hands. He simply waits for your yes. If your heart is weary, if your vision feels clouded, if you've been carrying questions about your value, this is the moment to remember. Serving is not a job, it's a grace. You don't have to do big things to matter. You don't need applause to be seen by heaven. Every small act of love, every word of kindness, every silent prayer offered for someone else is a seed sown in eternity. This morning, I want you to lift your eyes and let this truth sink in. You are chosen, and the calling is not someday, it's now. Serving is not just for saints in stained glass windows, it is for you. So let us begin this day together in prayer. Not rushed, not worried, not checking boxes, but in quiet surrender. Let this be the hour where you step into your identity, not as someone trying to prove yourself, but as someone beloved and sent. Lord, here is my heart. I want to serve. Even if I don't know the full picture, even if I feel small or unsure, I say yes. Teach me how to serve like you did, with humility, joy, and compassion. Use my voice to comfort, my hands to help, my presence to bring peace. May I see people not as interruptions, but as invitations to love. May I not seek position, but purpose. Today, I give you my schedule, my strengths, my weaknesses, my worries. Let nothing be wasted. If you can use broken bread to feed thousands, surely you can use my simple life to touch someone today. Remind me, Lord, that every moment counts. That service isn't what I do when I have time, it's who I am because I belong to you. Let my work be worship, let my day be devotion, and when I feel tired, remind me of Jesus, who knelt to wash feet before he carried the cross. Let me remember that love looks like a towel in hand, not a throne. That true greatness is not found in being served, but in choosing to serve. Let me find joy in unnoticed moments. Let me delight in unseen acts. Let me choose gentleness when I'm tempted to rush, and compassion when I'm tempted to criticize. Let my words build up, not tear down. Let my steps bring peace into every room I enter. Lord, keep my heart from growing numb to the needs around me. Make me attentive to the silent cries that go unspoken. Help me notice the discouraged, the overlooked, the weary ones waiting for someone to care. May I be that someone. Fill me with courage to step outside of comfort. Remind me that the world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more compassion, and I can offer that even in my imperfection. I can be your hands today, not because I am strong, but because you are with me. When I am tempted to think, it doesn't matter, whisper to my soul, it matters to me. When I am tempted to give up, breathe into me a fresh wind of grace. When I am tempted to stay silent, give me holy words to speak. When I am tempted to retreat, give me boldness to love anyway. This is my calling, not just today, but every day, to reflect the heart of Jesus. Not in grand gestures, but in daily faithfulness. Not in recognition, but in quiet obedience. Not for my name, but for yours. Thank you for entrusting me with this life, this moment, this mission. May I live today like someone who has been called, not to comfort, but to compassion. Not to chase status, but to build the kingdom. Not to seek control, but to follow you. Let me serve not out of guilt, but from gratitude. Let my response to your mercy be a life poured out. Let the weight of your love press into every part of my day, shifting my perspective, softening my heart, anchoring my steps. Give me a servant's heart, Lord, one that doesn't demand recognition, one that doesn't compare, one that loves in secret, gives in silence, and forgives without being asked. Help me serve the way you served, with patience for the slow, gentleness for the fragile, courage for the afraid. And when I forget, bring me back. When I lose focus, realign me. When I feel burned out, fill me again. I cannot do this without you, and I was never meant to. Serving isn't something I carry alone. It's something I do in partnership with your Spirit. So breathe through me, move through me, love through me. Let even the smallest details of my day be offered to you. The meals I prepare, the emails I send, the people I greet, the burdens I lift. Let each one be touched by your presence, because I surrendered it to you. This morning, I recommit my life to your calling. I say yes again. I say yes through the mundane, through the unexpected, through the uncomfortable. I say yes through tears, through laughter, through silence, through service. Here is my heart. Here are my hands. Here is my voice, my time, my focus. Use it all for your glory. I do not want a comfortable life if it costs me a holy one. I do not want a successful life if it means a self-centered one. I want a surrendered life, because that is where joy truly lives. This is my morning offering, my heart, my hands, my day. Let my yes be real. Let my yes be renewed. Let my yes be enough. Here I am, Lord. I am ready to serve. Somewhere between the quiet moments of waking and the first steps into the day, prayer begins to form, not with noise or grand declarations, but with the soft ache of your heart asking, Lord, where do you need me today? Not yesterday, not someday, today, in this present moment, this very breath, this new unfolding. Because yesterday's calling may not be today's, and today's mission may not come wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it will feel like a whisper, sometimes like a weight, sometimes like a simple choice to love where it's hard. And it starts by being willing to ask again and again, even when the answer is slow in coming. You're not asking for signs and wonders. You're not waiting for perfect conditions. You're simply offering what you have, a listening heart, an open spirit, and a desire to follow. That's how service begins, not in certainty, but in surrender. So you begin. You move into your morning with eyes that search for more than routine. You make room for the possibility that the sacred might show up in ordinary moments. The unexpected phone call, the tired stranger, the co-worker who lingers at your door a little longer than usual. These aren't distractions, they're invitations. You ask not just once, but throughout the day. Lord, is it here? Is it now? Is this the moment you've prepared me for? And often the answer won't come with thunder, but with peace. A peace that settles in your soul when you pause to notice someone's pain. A peace that gently nudges when you give up your right to be right. A peace that whispers, "This matters," when the world says, "It's nothing." Sometimes the place you're needed most is the place you'd rather avoid. Sometimes the person you're called to serve is the one who's hardest to love. Sometimes the path God chooses isn't straight or smooth, but it's holy, and you'll know it because love keeps drawing you back there. And when you wonder if it's worth it, if the unseen acts, the unnoticed faithfulness, the unrewarded kindness are doing anything, remember that seeds buried deep still grow. God waters what the world forgets. He sees what no one else does, and He delights in your yes, even when it's quiet. So let today be a series of little yeses. Yes to slowing down. Yes to speaking gently. Yes to staying when it's easier to walk away. Yes to forgiving when no apology comes. Yes to noticing when others overlook. Yes to loving without needing credit. Every yes a brick in the invisible kingdom. Let your hands become gentle tools of healing. Let your words carry warmth. Let your attention become a gift. Let your presence be a sanctuary for the weary. You don't need to solve every problem. You only need to bring light where you are. And if the day unfolds with silence, don't assume nothing happened. Heaven often moves in stillness. Obedience rarely makes headlines, but it shakes eternity. Trust that God does more with your surrendered presence than you could ever do with a perfect plan. So you keep walking, not always knowing, but always trusting. You keep praying, not always with words, but with posture. You keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because you're called. And when the day ends, when the tasks are done and the questions remain, may your heart still whisper, "Here I am, Lord. I followed where you led. I gave what I could. I loved where you sent me. I didn't need to be seen. I only needed to be yours." And maybe there will be a moment, quiet, unnoticed by the world, when you realize that the place you were today was exactly the place someone else was praying for. That your presence, your patience, your willingness to stop and care was God's answer to someone else's cry. That's the beauty of service, how your small yes intersects with another's deep need, and heaven touches earth in the middle. Don't let the world rush you past this kind of meaning. Don't let noise drown out the whisper of grace. Don't let comparison steal your peace, because your calling was never meant to look like anyone else's. It was meant to reflect the heart of Christ in the shape of your day. So let your day become a sacred offering, poured out moment by moment. Let your to-do list become your altar. Let interruptions become sacred assignments. Let compassion interrupt your schedule, and mercy disrupt your expectations. You don't need to be extraordinary to serve extraordinarily. You only need to be available. God does not require performance. He welcomes presence. He moves through the surrendered heart, through the willing hands, through the person who still dares to ask, even in the rush of morning, "Lord, where do you need me today?" And so, as this day unfolds, carry the question close. Let it anchor you when you drift, guide you when you're unsure, calm you when you're overwhelmed. Keep asking, keep listening, keep loving. Here I am, Lord, still willing, still listening, still yours. There will be days when serving doesn't feel like joy, when it's not inspiring or uplifting or full of clarity. There will be mornings when the heart feels heavy and the hands feel tired. When you wake up and the question isn't, "Lord, where do you need me?" but "Lord, how do I keep going?" Serving others, especially when no one notices, applauds, or understands, can wear on the soul. And sometimes, the very people you love most are the ones who make it hardest. Sometimes the work seems endless, thankless, invisible. You wonder if it matters. You wonder if you're doing any good at all. And in those moments, your calling doesn't feel like a holy invitation. It feels like a weight. But that is exactly when the heart needs to be reminded. You were never asked to carry this alone. The world may measure your worth by success, speed, or visibility. But God measures it by surrender, by love, by the posture of your heart when no one is looking. And He is not asking you to be strong all the time. He is inviting you to bring your weakness into His presence and let Him be strong for you. Service, in its truest form, begins where striving ends, when you stop performing, when you stop pretending, when you come before God not as a servant with a checklist, but as a child with empty hands, saying, "I'm tired, Lord, but I still want to love. Help me that prayer is enough, that surrender is sacred. Lord, when I feel the weight of expectations pressing down on me, remind me that you are not a taskmaster. You are my shepherd. You do not drive me with fear. You lead me with love. When I feel like I'm falling behind, whisper to my soul that I am not racing anyone, that faithfulness has no finish line. Help me remember that every act of love is eternal, even when no one sees it. Every dish washed, every tear wiped, every kind word spoken in weariness is known to you. And you gather those moments like treasure. Not one is lost. When resentment tries to settle in my spirit, because others don't help, because the burden feels unfair, disarm it with your compassion. Let me serve not with bitterness, but with grace. Not because I must, but because you are forming something beautiful in me through this quiet obedience. Teach me to recognize the difference between exhaustion that calls for rest and resistance that calls for deeper surrender. Help me not to run on empty, but to return daily to the well of your presence, because the strength I need doesn't come from within, it flows from communion with you. Let my love not depend on appreciation. Let my faithfulness not hinge on outcomes. Let my motivation be rooted in you, not in how I feel. And when the joy fades and the work becomes routine, breathe new life into my soul. Remind me why I began, to serve you, to reflect you, to love like you. Lord, give me eyes to see that even the seemingly useless moments are still fertile ground. That conversations repeated for the 100th time, tasks that never end, routines that wear me thin, they are not meaningless, they are altars, they are holy places where love is tested, purified, and offered again. And when I feel like quitting, hold me. When I feel like disappearing, call me back. When I feel numb, awaken me with your spirit. When I feel used, affirm my worth. When I feel lost, draw me close. Not because I earned it, but because I belong to you. You never asked me to fix the world. You only asked me to follow you. And sometimes, that means loving in the quiet, forgiving when it still hurts, showing up when no one else does, continuing when I don't feel strong, staying when it would be easier to run. Let my service be shaped not by my limits, but by your grace. Let it reflect not my capacity, but your compassion. Let it speak of a Savior who knelt to serve, even when his own heart was breaking. Let my hands remember that same humility. And when I do collapse in prayer at the end of the day, with nothing left to give, let that be enough. Let that be holy. Let that be worship. because you are not asking for polished perfection. You are asking for honesty, for a life poured out, even when it's messy, even when it's uncertain, even when it hurts. Lord, teach me to serve not because it feels good, but because you are good. Not because it always makes sense, but because you always have a purpose. Not because it's easy, but because love never gives up. So I rise again. Not in my own strength, but in yours. I step forward, not because I have it all together, but because I trust the one who goes before me. And I pray, let me serve, not from duty, but from love. Let me serve not for praise, but for purpose. Let me serve not with weariness alone, but with the deep joy of knowing I am walking in your footsteps. You've served in quiet ways before, through actions no one clapped for, through love that cost more than you expected, through words that stretched your heart to speak gently when your emotions wanted the opposite. But today, the call deepens, not just to do for others, but to become someone who carries Christ into every connection you touch. In your relationships today, your mission isn't to control the outcome, solve every tension, or perfect your responses. Your mission is presence. Your mission is love. Your mission is to be a reflection of God's character, not because you're flawless, but because you're willing to love as He first loved you. Someone in your life right now is starving for patience. Another is silently hoping to be seen. A person close to you may be hiding their fear behind distance, or their shame behind pride. These are not obstacles, they're invitations. Invitations to be kind when it's inconvenient, to be calm when things get tense, to remain when everything in you wants to run. God is asking you not to enter your relationships with a script, but with surrender, not with superiority, but humility. He's not asking you to fix others. He's inviting you to be a safe place where they can soften and breathe. So how do you do that? You start by choosing slowness in a culture of reaction. You hold space when someone needs time to speak. You ask honest questions instead of assuming answers. You affirm without needing to be affirmed. And above all, you pray, not just for others, but for your own heart to be continually shaped by His Spirit. Because love that reflects God isn't passive. It's not weak. It's a strength that shows up in stability, a force that holds peace in the middle of misunderstanding, a quiet fire that keeps choosing connection even when it feels unrewarded. You may be called to forgive someone who hasn't asked for it. You may be asked to speak truth with gentleness when silence would be easier. You may need to stay present when someone else shuts down. You may need to keep showing up for a relationship that feels one-sided. This doesn't mean losing your voice or ignoring your needs. God doesn't call you to disappear. He calls you to bring your full, rooted self into the room, anchored in Him, not swayed by the emotional storms around you. When harsh words come, respond with grounded grace. When tension rises, breathe deeply and draw from the Spirit's calm. When you feel invisible, remember that God sees your quiet sacrifice. You won't always get it right. You'll miss moments. You'll say things you regret. You'll carry frustration. That's not failure, that's formation. Every stretch is an opportunity to return to God and be refined, not shamed. And when love becomes difficult to give, that's when it becomes most powerful. You may never get a thank you for your patience. You may never hear an apology for the hurt. You may never see visible change in a strained connection. But still, you were faithful, and that's enough. Faithfulness in relationships is never wasted. It doesn't disappear in silence. It doesn't unravel in rejection. It is recorded in heaven, and it echoes in the hearts of those you've loved well. So today, instead of asking for easy connections, ask for a courageous heart. Instead of seeking admiration, seek to bring comfort. Instead of expecting others to meet you halfway, walk the extra step with integrity. This isn't about being a martyr. It's about becoming someone who makes relationships feel less like war zones and more like havens. Someone who doesn't have to win every argument to win someone's trust. Someone who speaks truth with compassion, who listens with an uncluttered soul, who offers rest in a world that constantly demands more. You are capable of this, not because you have all the tools, but because you have the Spirit of the living God dwelling within you. So walk into every conversation today not with fear, but with quiet resolve. To carry peace into tension, to offer steadiness where others expect sharpness, to show up when it would be easier to stay withdrawn. And when the day ends and you're unsure whether you made a difference, know this: every seed of love planted, even in the hardest soil, has eternal roots. You don't have to shine. You don't have to impress. You just have to be faithful. And in doing that, you bring the light of Christ into rooms, into hearts, into relationships that desperately need it. Even if no one else says it, hear this now. You're doing holy work. Even in the misunderstandings that never seem to clear, in the hard conversations that end in silence, in the texts left unread and the calls unreturned, God sees the offering. He sees the courage it takes to keep loving when the reward isn't immediate. He sees how much effort it takes to be present when your heart is tired. He sees the moment you held your tongue to keep peace. He sees the moment you stayed when leaving would have been easier. He sees the moment you chose humility over pride. And He is with you in all of it. Relationships shaped by grace are never effortless, but they are eternal. Each choice to stay kind, to stay gentle, to stay rooted in compassion. These are choices that echo far beyond today. So carry this with you now. Every time you offer kindness, it counts. Every time you choose patience, it matters. Every time you act in love, even in silence, you reflect the heart of Christ. Let every word you speak today be thoughtful. Let every pause be intentional. Let every interaction become an opportunity for restoration. And when you feel weary from holding relationships together, return to the one who holds you. He does not expect you to carry the weight of everyone's needs. He simply calls you to walk in love, one step at a time. And friend, that is enough. This morning begins like every other, with the rhythm of breath and the steady pulse of life within you. Yet it is not just another day. It is a divine appointment. God has trusted you with this sunrise, not simply to survive, but to live fully in His mission. You have been called not to wander aimlessly, but to walk with fire in your heart, to step into your purpose with courage, and to let your life become a living testimony of His love. The mission God gives you is not far away, nor is it reserved for extraordinary people. It is here in the ordinary details of your day. It is hidden in the sigh of a loved one who needs encouragement, in the quiet sadness of a friend who pretends to be fine, in the unspoken fears of someone you pass on the street. Your mission is woven into the fabric of your relationships, your responsibilities, your interruptions. It is not about chasing something grand. It is about living faithfully where you are. But this mission requires more than strength of will. It requires the fire of the Spirit. Without that fire, love runs cold, patience wears thin, and service becomes duty instead of delight. That is why you need to pray, "Lord, set my heart ablaze. Fill me with zeal not born of pride, but of devotion. Let me serve with a joy that cannot be extinguished, even when I feel unseen or unappreciated." The world may tempt you to believe that purpose is measured by success, applause, or recognition. But heaven counts differently. Heaven treasures the hidden sacrifices, the unseen prayers, the quiet endurance. Every whispered forgiveness, every unnoticed act of generosity, every moment of choosing compassion over anger, they are all written into eternity. This is the mission you are called to, and it begins with fire in the soul. So ask yourself, what does it mean to be on fire for God's mission? It means waking each morning with openness, saying, "God, use me today in ways I may not expect." It means carrying a heart that looks for opportunities, not excuses. It means refusing to let discouragement dim your flame. It means choosing to believe that even when no one sees, God sees. Even when no one thanks you, heaven rejoices. Even when you feel ordinary, your love carries eternal weight. When you grow tired, remember the fire is not your own. It is the Spirit burning within you. Just as Moses stood before the burning bush and realized he was standing on holy ground, so too are you standing on holy ground today. Every moment, every place, every person you encounter is part of that sacred mission. And when you say yes, the Spirit fuels you. You are not serving alone. You are serving with the one who called you. When fear rises, when self-doubt whispers that you are not enough, when the weight of life feels too heavy, return to this truth. Your mission is not about your ability, but about God's presence in you. Fire is not maintained by effort alone, it is sustained by surrender. The more you yield, the brighter you shine. The more you trust, the stronger you stand. The more you give, the deeper your joy becomes. Friend, there will be times when the mission feels costly, times when you must love those who wound you, times when you must forgive those who never apologize, times when you must remain faithful even when you feel invisible. This is not failure, it is faith. These are the very moments when your fire burns brightest, because it is not fueled by comfort, but by conviction. God's mission is not just about tasks, it is about transformation. It is about becoming more like Christ each day. To set your heart on fire is to let His character reshape your own. To love the way He loved, to serve the way He served, to endure the way He endured. It is to look at the cross and remember that true power is found in sacrifice, and true glory is found in humility. So today, rise with purpose. Carry within you the unshakable conviction that your life matters in the kingdom of God. Carry the certainty that your smallest act of service can ripple into eternity. Carry the fire that makes you bold enough to love radically, even when it costs you. And carry the peace of knowing that you are never alone in this mission. Heaven walks with you, grace surrounds you, and Christ Himself goes before you. At the end of this day, when you lay down your head, may your heart be able to whisper, "I lived today with fire. I chose love over comfort. I chose service over self. I chose faithfulness over fear. And that is enough." This is your mission, not just today, but every day. to live with a heart set ablaze by God, to shine with His love, to serve with His compassion, to walk with His Spirit, and to rest in His presence. So go, beloved child of God. Step into the mission before you. Carry the flame into dark places. Bring warmth to cold hearts. Be the light that cannot be hidden. And know this, when you burn for His mission, your life will never be wasted. It will shine forever in the story of His glory. The day will come when your body feels tired, your spirit feels stretched, and your heart wonders if you can continue carrying the mission you've been entrusted with. After walking through days of serving, after pouring out love in hidden places, after choosing faithfulness when it felt costly, you will long for strength to go on. And that longing itself is holy, because it reminds you that you were never meant to walk this path in your own power. You were meant to lean on the everlasting arms of God. The mission of God is not a sprint, it is a lifelong journey. Some days will feel bright, full of joy and clarity. Other days will feel heavy, clouded with doubt or weariness. Yet through every season, the invitation remains the same: to keep walking, to keep trusting, to keep serving with a heart that refuses to grow cold. You may ask, how can I stay faithful when I feel so weak? The answer is not to push harder, but to abide deeper, to abide in prayer when your words run dry, to abide in Scripture when your thoughts are restless, to abide in silence when the world feels loud, to abide in the presence of Christ, who promised, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." The strength you need will not always feel like a surge of energy. Sometimes it will feel like the quiet endurance to keep loving. Sometimes it will feel like the courage to rise again after failure. Sometimes it will feel like the peace to let go of what you cannot control. God's strength doesn't always remove the struggle, but it always carries you through it. So pray in this moment. Lord, as I step into the journey ahead, renew my strength. Where my love feels small, enlarge it. Where my patience feels thin, stretch it. Where my courage falters, anchor it in you. Where my hope feels fragile, protect it with your promises. Where my spirit feels weary, breathe new life into me. The road ahead will not always be smooth. There will be hills that test your endurance, valleys that test your trust, crossroads that test your discernment. Yet you do not walk alone. The shepherd goes before you, the Spirit walks beside you, and the Father covers you with mercy. Every step is seen, every tear is held, every prayer is heard. Strength for the journey ahead is not found in avoiding the hard places. It is found in discovering God in the midst of them, in the arguments that demand patience, in the disappointments that stretch your faith, in the ordinary routines where nothing seems to change. Each of these moments is sacred ground, where your faith deepens, your love matures, and your mission grows. When you feel like giving up, remember, even the smallest step forward is still progress in the kingdom of God. When you feel like nothing is happening, remember, seeds grow silently beneath the soil before they break through into light. When you feel unseen, remember, God Himself rejoices over your faithfulness. So rise again today, not because the journey is easy, but because the one who walks with you is faithful. Rise because your life is part of a story bigger than your own. Rise because heaven has written your name, and your labor in the Lord is never in vain. Friend, strength for the journey does not come from trying harder. It comes from surrendering more deeply. It comes from admitting your weakness and inviting God to be strong in you. It comes from holding on to the promise that He who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. So carry this prayer in your heart as you step into what's next. God, give me strength not just to begin well, but to finish faithfully. Give me the endurance to love when I am tired, the humility to serve when I am unseen, the courage to keep walking when I am uncertain, and the joy to know that every step with you is holy. And at the end of my journey, when I look back, may my heart testify. I lived with fire, I served with love, I walked with faith, and I never walked alone. As this prayer comes to a close, take a deep breath and allow the peace of God to settle over you. You have walked through these chapters carrying reflections, petitions, and longings before the Lord. You have asked for courage to serve, for zeal to love, for strength to continue, and for fire to embrace your mission. And through it all, God has been here, listening, guiding, and holding your heart. Remember, your service doesn't end when this prayer ends. Each step you take, each word you speak, each act of kindness you offer is a continuation of this prayer. Your life itself is the offering. And the God who called you will continue to walk with you through every season ahead. So as you rise from this time of prayer, carry with you the assurance that you are not alone. The Spirit is your companion, Christ is your strength, and the Father's love is your refuge. You are chosen, you are loved, and you are sent. Thank you for joining in this time of morning prayer. If these words have touched your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel so we may continue walking together in faith each day. Share this prayer with someone who needs encouragement, and let us grow together as a community rooted in God's love. Until we meet again, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and give you peace. Go now, serve with joy, and live with your heart set on fire for His mission. Amen.